Okay, do I sound now? Okay, so the solution was unplug it and plug it back in. Do I have any echo or weirdness? Um, Hopefully not. I don't think I can do semaphore because I don't have any flags. Heather has all of the flags. So, um, welcome to, we're back! We are back to tutorials. We had a couple much needed weeks off, and thank you guys for being for being patient with us for that period, but I am back. I'm going to be streaming mostly solo this week because Heather does in fact have all the flags. Yes, and I'm going to be doing Kumihimo tonight, which is actually more Heather's jam than mine. But I forgot that she was going to be doing flags this week, so I was like, cool, Heather can teach Kumihimo, and then no. All of the flags, all of the time. So I will be teaching Kumihimo. You're stuck with me. I am your second-rate Kumihimo instructor, so I apologize that you're stuck with the leftovers. But Heather's at home making her flag. She's also on the chat. And yeah, so what are we going to be doing tonight? And because I'm amazing like that. Hi, Rosemary. Kamikaze, right? And because I'm super amazing, the sample is sitting at home. It was here at Beading Dreams. I took it home and then I left it there because I'm amazing like that. So I will be creating before your very eyes tonight, Kumihimo with satin cord. Now, let's talk a tiny bit about Kumihimo, or as Rosemary calls it, kamikaze, before we start. So, Kumihimo, is a Japanese. Hi, Jason. We are friends now. Heather, your friend adopted me. Now we're all mutual friends. It's amazing. So, all right. So, let's talk for a minute about Kumihimo. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I'm actually going to be teaching a class on this at a workshop not related to Beading Dreams in November. So, Kumihimo is a method of braiding cords that originated in Japan. And the way that we most commonly do Kumihimo these days is on what's called a disc, which is these. They're oftentimes made of foam. And Heather's like, if you use that silk disc for rat tail, I'm going to murder your face. I'm not. I'm going to use this one for the rat tail. But, different sizes, but they're all basically the same. So they are all a disc. Hi, Sophia! And the cool thing about modern times is that you've got these cool little foamy bits that actually will, hold your cord in there. I knew she would have murdered me in the face. I knew it. She would have come through the computer and killed me for that. And as you can see, they come in different. I didn't get any thread. I'll get that in a minute. They come in different sizes. They all of these work the same. This is exactly the same pattern executed in exactly the same foam, just in 3 different sizes. And it really doesn't matter what size you use. It just kind of depends on whether you want to put it in your purse or in your briefcase or in your pocket. Actually, don't have any pocket-sized Kumihimo discs, but your traditional instrument for creating Kumihimo is what is called a marudai, which is basically a stand that is a disc, not a disc, a ring, and then it's got like 4 posts, and then it's got a base at the bottom. So the marudai doesn't have any of these little subdivided things. It's kind of more up to the Kumihimo artist to recognize and remember the pattern and place the strings in, or the cords or the fibers in the right place. This is a little bit better for those of us who are of the dumb set, who's not done Kumihimo since they were tiny children's not a word, children. So these actually have numbers on them and compass points to help you with starting your Kumihimo. But if you ever want some like high quality ASMR, I highly recommend watching or listening to videos of people doing Kumihimo on a Marodai, because there's this just beautiful like clickety clackety rhythm, because when they're doing it on a Marodai, they're usually using wood bobbins, and it's just an amazing sound. But we're not going to be that advanced today. We're going to do our basic Kumihimo with satin cord, and we're going to put a pretty bead in the center of it, because who doesn't like pretty beads? So what do you need in order to do this particular project? You are going to need a Kumihimo disc of some flavor, okay? Now, the reason that I was saying Heather was going to murder me in the face if I use that other Kumihimo disc for this project is because the Kumihimo discs that you get that are made of this foamy stuff, they tend to stretch out, and so I'm going to be using a satin cord. I'm using satin mousetail, so that's a pretty wide cord, but you can also do Kumihimo with narrower cords. The problem being that if you've used your Kumihimo disc for wide cord, like I'm using today, if you've used that a lot, oops, cats and headphones do not mix. So says Lori. But anyway, so you can even see it if I turn this backwards. See that right there? So that's where the disc has kind of stretched out to accommodate the larger cords, which is great, but then it won't grip the smaller cords. So, yes, the clickety, I love the clickety clack videos. They're amazing. So, what a lot of us who do Kumihimo a lot, and by a lot of us, I mean Heather, will do is we'll actually label our Kumihimo discs, that one's on the floor now, that's fine, as to what we use with them. So this one's for silk. That means this one's for the skinniest thread that we have. This one's not labeled, but it looks like it's been used for satin before, so I'm going to feel fairly safe in using this today. So in addition to your Kumihimo disc, you're going to need some cord. I'm using satin mousetail cord. So let's talk for just a real quick second about satin cords and the different interesting names that they have. So there are 3 commonly used sizes of satin cording, which is what this is. It's very shiny. And rather than being denoted by any particular measurement that makes sense to any person, they're called rat tail, mouse tail, and bug tail, because that's a workable system of naming. Because come on, raise your hand if you don't know what size bug tail is. I mean, come on. Like, okay, first of all, how many bugs have tails? Don't anybody come at me with scorpions, by the way, because ew. But like, some of the measuring systems in this industry are truly ridiculous. But anyway, so satin rat tail is approximately, I would call it like 1.25 millimeters. Satin mouse tail is about 1 millimeter, and bug tail is about 0.75 millimeter. But you know, that is literally as precise as I can get for you, because again, what size is a bug's tail? Does anybody have an answer for that? Because I really do not. We're going to be doing an 8-strand Kumihimo braid. So you can do that with either 4 strands or 8 strands of cord, and how that works I am going to explain to you right now. So I like to do my Kumihimo braids with 4 strands of cord. So what I have is I've got 4 strands of cord, each of which is 6 times the length of my finished bracelet. So that means if I want a 6-inch bracelet, I need 6 times 6 for each strand. So I need 4 36-inch strand. I did not math correctly, so I have 6 foot strands instead of 3-foot strands. Don't come for me, Heather. But anyway, so I've got 4 strands here. You need them to be at least 6 times your finished length, which again for bracelets about 6 inches. And again, I overcut, so I've got a whole lot of stuff here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this. So what that entails is grabbing my Kumihimo disc, and everything is going to be centered over, oh, I did not actually do that, did I? I sure as heck did not. Well, Kumihimo Queen and Math Queen, because everyone knows that I should not be trusted with math, but you're not here to supervise me, Heather. So in my defense, I was left unsupervised, and this is what happened. Also, you missed Mr. Wizard today, by the way. And I was at the bank, so Carol got to have some Mr. Wizard time, which she was thrilled about. Okay, so Heather is in flag purgatory, yes. She is, but she is flagging from home because we have Delaney, who is amazing, even though we had not a whole lot of customers today, so we didn't really need a Delaney or me or a Carol. But but anyway, so I've got my cords, and whatever length you cut them at, again, I cut them too long, but we're just gonna ride right on past that. You're gonna bend them in half. So I've got 4 cords that are halved, which means I have essentially 8 cords. I'm gonna take my half and I'm gonna center it over my face. Hold on, let me make my face smaller. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to center it over the hole in my Kumihimo disc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of those away. And I'm going to set 2 of them up. And this is where your north-south points that are marked on your Kumihimo disc are going to come in handy. So I'm going to set 2 of them basically at the North Pole and the South Pole, like so. And then I'm going to take the other 2 and set them up east-west. Again, with the center of my cord being at the center of the hole in my disc. So that is something to remember, because if that's not the case, then at some point you may wind up with less. Hi, Blue Jay. Hi, Corvus. We back. We back with Kumihimo. So so what you want is this kind of squiddy thing going on, but you want it to be relatively equal at the bottom. Now, I didn't do a great job of that, but luckily for me, I cut out about 3 extra feet of cord, so it doesn't really matter. However, if I hadn't done that, this would be something that I would want to address and make sure that these ends are mostly even before I start weaving. Again, not a huge issue right now because I cut way too much cord, but something to think about, because like all of your braiding, macrame, coiling techniques, you're going to use up cord faster than you think you're going to. So when in doubt, more cord, always better than less cord. Okay, so now let us talk about to wait or not to wait. And I'm not talking about W-A-I-T, no, I'm talking about W-E-I-G-H-T. So you can Kumihimo with a weight, or you can Kumihimo without a weight. I'm going to use a weight today. And I do find that when I'm teaching beginners, especially, that using a weight tends to be easier. But here's the thing. You need to make sure that you let your weight actually do its work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clip my weight over all of my cords. Okay. So I'm using my handy dandy little color wheel keychain, and that's going to be my weight. So I've clipped it. I attached it to a lobster claw, and I've clipped it around all of my cords. Now, if I take my Kumihimo weight and I put it down on my counter whilst I'm doing my Kumihimo, class, is my weight doing anything for me if it's just sitting on the counter like that? I'm pretty sure that you all know the answer to that. No, nowhere. So if it's sitting on the counter, it's not doing me any good. So if I'm using a weight, I need to make sure that I'm holding my Kumihimo above my counter so that my weight can pull down and do what it needs to do. So the pattern for Kumihimo is extremely easy, and what's going to be less extremely easy is going to be for me to reverse it for you. But I'm going to try this. So you've got your top right hand cord is going to go to the bottom right hand slot, and your bottom left hand cord is going to go to your top left hand slot. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rotate your Kumihimo disc a quarter of a turn. Now the beginning is a little bit messy, so you just need to kind of go with it. So top right to bottom left, or bottom right, bottom left to top left, rotate. Now as you get this going, Heather, tell me if I'm trying to reverse this for the camera, so tell me if I'm doing this wrong. As you get going, you can see that the ones that you need to move next are in a V, and the ones that you just moved are parallel. So that is one way that you can that's one way. So all right, so top to bottom, bottom to top. So another way to think about it, if you're not doing the lefts and the rights, is just outside. So one outside goes up and the other outside goes down. So now this is where I'm starting to have trouble because there's not enough space between my camera and my work surface, and so my weight is starting to rest and not do its job. So I'm going to actually move this in a minute, but I want to talk about one thing first, and that is this. Okay, this is called a bird foot by most of us who do Kumihimo. So this is if you need to stop, if you need to pee, if the phone rings, if you need to talk to the internet chat, and you need to stop your Kumihimo and put it down, this is where you want to go, because this is the only part of this entire process where you can pick it back up and know exactly where you need to go. It's the only, because once I finish this motion, then all of a sudden we're like, okay, well, which way did I just turn it? What's the bottom? What's the top? Like the bird foot is the only thing, the only time, this one right here, where you know where you've got to go next. So I'm going to leave it at a bird foot, and I'm going to move the camera so that I can take this and I can hang it over my lap so that my weight can actually do what it's supposed to do. And I'm also going to, at this point, switch to doing it right side up for me. And so I'm just going to keep braiding in the same pattern. So one goes down, one goes up, rotate. One goes down, one goes up, rotate. Now I hope it's not too confusing because I did just switch I just switched the direction on you because I was doing it reverse for the camera. So one goes down, one goes up, rotate, down, up. And so when I'm saying down and up, to me, Down means towards me, and up means away from me. So those are my definitions of those directions in this particular context. So what I'm creating is a braid. It's an 8-strand braid. See? Look at that. Now, if we're just gonna blow Corvus's mind for a minute, this is the 8-strand braid is one of the simplest Kumihimo braids. There are Kumihimo braids that happen with way more cords than this. Like way more cords than this. And this particular technique, though I will say I have recently discovered a new technique called whip cording, which in addition to having a really cool name is also really fun. Oh, I probably have a screwed up part in the middle there, but I'm just not, we're just ignoring that. But anyway, so yeah, so I just discovered whip cording, and that's going to be a thing at some point. And I don't have these on bobbins, so they are getting a little tangled. So if you're doing something that's short like a bracelet, at every once in a while you're going to have to re-untangle is not a thing. You're going to have to untangle your cords. Also, so as I'm doing this, because this is a really good thing to do when you are chit-chatting with friends or watching television, listening to an audiobook, on a road trip, because it doesn't, once you get started with it, it doesn't require a ton of, brain cells to keep going until you get to the ending bits. But, so I just want to share with everybody local that we're going to be vending at the Dallas Public Library's Beetlejuice Ball next month. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited that balls are coming back. Yes, whip cording. It's going to be fun, Keiko. It's so much fun. Yee! But yes, I'm real glad that the Dallas Public Library is bringing back balls because somebody had to. So yes, we're going to be vending at the Beetlejuice Ball, and we will be doing tarot card jewelry. And I'm super excited about it. Come on, Keiko. I am bringing Delaney, though. I will have help. And I think Delaney is not quite as easily overwhelmed as Sam is. Also right now. So I'm sure that y'all will, I don't even know how many of you are on the stream, but it's not that many. So most of y'all have probably heard the delightful and disastrous tale of the Bridgerton Ball at the Dallas Public Library that Beading Dreams vended at with acrostic jewelry and was extremely well received. However, when I first looked at attendance, caps for the Bridgerton Ball, it was at 250 people or something like that. And then they expanded it to like 500 people. And then I just stopped paying attention because, there were other things going on that involve running a small business. And I didn't find out. And then the Bridgerton Ball happened, and poor Sam, and Keiko came and helped. And poor Sam, I think, felt like they had been hit with a semi-truck because we were just completely slammed with people. We wound up actually leaving orders on the table, which I hate. But the reason for this is because no one bothered to inform me, and I'm not blaming the library staff because they work for the Dallas Public Library. They're civil servants. They're not, running on they're probably running on massive amounts of caffeine and very small amounts of money. But the ultimate head count for said ball event was 1,400 people, give or take a person or two. So it is not surprising that we were staggeringly unprepared, since I came prepared for half that many people. So this time, they currently have attendance capped at 1,000, and I shall be checking in regularly to see if we're going to get up to 1,400 again. The Bridgerton Ball was amazing, but we were not prepared for that. I mean, thank goodness for Keiko, because again, Sam was an amazing helper, but was not expecting that volume of people. Neither was I, but yeah, Sam just was a little bit overwhelmed. We love us some Sam, though. Sam has had her first week at UT Austin. So she's doing well. Okay, so this is me Kumihimoing. Now, for some reason, whenever Heather does this, men seem to flock to her. I'm not getting any flocking men at the moment. So obviously she has some kind of badass Kumihimo powers that I don't have. Oh, yay! Hi, Japan! Dude, Keiko, you have no idea. Like, Sam at that point was so burned out. You are a godsend. But yeah, so I'm not getting the flocking men effect. I mean, but they could flock outside the door, Lori. Like they could be waiting there creepily, like I was Tippi Hedren in the birds. But yes. Heather tends to get men flocking around her when she does this. I'm again not experiencing the men flocking effect. But you can see how quickly this comes together, because I'm already halfway through my bracelet, and this is where we're going to put our bead on. Okay, so now we're going to do something that is well and truly frightening, okay? And you need to realize that it's not frightening before you do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be scared. I'm going to take all of these cords off of my disc. And here's the thing, is after I put my bead on, it doesn't matter what order I reset them up in. So I'm going to take all my cords off of my disc. I know, it's scary. All right, I'm going to take all my cords off my disc. Move it over here so that I can, actually be in the frame. Stop. Okay. All right, I'm going to take my piece out of my disc. And now this is the part that's a pain in the butt. Because I'm going to take this bead and I'm going to string it onto all 8 of these cords. And again, this part's a pain in the you-know-what. The derriere, as the cultured people would say. I would say another word. So we want all 8 of them to go through here. And you can do this as many times as you want on your bracelet. So you can put as many beads as you want on your bracelet. I am not willing to go through this weird agony more than once. So therefore, I'm putting 1 bead on my bracelet. Because, the first 5 or 6 are fine. Then you get to the last couple and you're like, blankety, blankety, blank, blank, piece of blankety, blank, go through the hole. Don't quote me on that. So Keiko had a good question. Could you do this with the Chinese knotting cord? You absolutely can't. You can do this with any cord. I do, however, the satin cord does have some peculiarities just due to the, okay, hold on, 2, 6, yeah, I need, there's one more. Just due to the fact that it is so slippery. So the technique that I'm going to show you tonight for finishing works really well with the satin cord. Okay, so I'm employing a stabby instrument to get this last one through, and then here's a little trick. If it's tight enough, you can just kind of shove the bead down and get that one to go through. If it's not tight enough, then you just have to shove with the cord or with the tweezers. But anyway, the technique that I'm going to show you for finishing is a mechanical finish. It's not a, come on, stop being a pain in my ass. 2, 4, 7, this is not right. There should be 8. Anyway, the technique that I'm going to show you to finish is a mechanical finish, so it works well with this satin cord because it's so dadgum slippery, but you can also use it with other things. But if you are using the Chinese knotting cord, oh, well, that's lovely. I just love it when the grommets come out of my beads. The weird things people say on the internet. So yes, now the grommet is coming out of my bead, but this is kind of a time-honored, and I know most of you know this technique. If you can't get something through, try and kind of twist it through, which is lovely until your bead starts disintegrating in your hand, so that's amazing. And I still don't think I have the one that I need through there because I only have 7. Oh, 7 is not the number that I need. I need 8. Okay. Huh. Well, I said mechanical. Good Lord, Keiko. Mechanical. Alright, pardon me while I go off camera to try and murder this thing into submission. I'm also angry. Because I'm an amazing adult. When I got here this morning, well, not this morning, this afternoon, after dropping off a job in Plano, and picking up a job in Plano, I put a bagel in the toaster oven. And then, about 20 minutes ago, I was saying goodbye to Diane, and she came up and visited, and there was my bagel, still in the toaster. So, did not get eaten. Okay, so now I have this interesting scenario where my beads actually come apart. So, bear with me for just another minute whilst I figure this out. So how is everybody? What's new? I haven't seen you in forever. The break was well and good and much needed, but we've missed you. And of course, Heather's still in Flagland, so she'll be here tomorrow night though. So if you want to see an in-person Heather, come back and tune in tomorrow night for the sale. Yes, it worked. Uh-oh, why, Corvus? Oh my God, Lori, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. Once again, this is why I do not want to own a home anymore or ever again. So if anybody wants to buy a condo in Dallas, call me. Okay, so I finally did get my bead on there. I'm still having some issues with the grommets and such, but I think once I get it down there, and it'll all be okay. So, alright, so I've taken my bead and I put it on all of my strings, and Kenneth! Oh my, what the hell? Okay. Well, please tell us when, if you would care to share, so that we can all send good thoughts your direction. Because that's intense. Okay, so now I've got that on there. And I'm just going to pull, I'm just going to do a quick pull one at a time of all my chords, just to make sure everything's through there all the way. 18th. Okay, so we are going to have a big good think for Kenneth on the 18th. Okay, so now I've got my, okay, so this is my Kumihimo bracelet, which I made a little bit big, but we're just not going to talk about that. And I've got my bead on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and reset it up on my Kumihimo disc. And here's the cool thing is it doesn't matter if I set it up the same way it was set before. Now, if you're using, okay, shush, nobody likes you. If you're using different colors, you can do different colors to make different patterns in your Kumihimo. And so if you are doing that, it does matter. But since I'm doing everything with the same color, it literally doesn't matter. So I'm going to take everything, I'm just going to pop it back through my Kumihimo disc like it was, and then I'm just going to pick out the 2 chords that seem like they want to go here, and I'm going to put them here. And the 2 chords that seem like they want to go here, and I'm going to put them there. And same with these. And these. So now I've got my original setup back, and I'm just going to go back to doing Kumihimo. So there we go. And again, the beginning of this is going to be a little bit messy because it's going to take a second for the threads to get themselves sorted out, but it will happen pretty quickly. And you're just going to keep going until you have created an equivalent amount of braid on this side of your bead to the other side. Well, best of luck to you, Kenneth. Brain surgery is like a scary words. Are you getting like a deep brain stimulator? Or I can't remember. I think that's what that's called. I can't remember, but a thing. You know what? If it's gonna improve your quality of life, amazeballs. Cool. Well, yay. Well, we will all be thinking about you on the 18th because despite the fact that medical science is amazing, it never hurts to have a little bit of positive energy going that way. Okay, so let's talk television for a little bit because I've got to do about 4 more inches of this before I can show you how to finish it. Okay, so first of all, who has finished the new season of Umbrella Academy? And that was a bit of a head trip. And second of all, who has started Chaos with Jeff Goldblum, which is also a bit of a head trip. And I knew that Greek myths were deeply screwed up, but when you see them on a screen in front of you, it's so much more obvious. Oh, and Lori has another cat. Oh my god. Okay, name, weight, phone number of cat, please. And Keiko, do you not even, like, do you remember 59, 79, 99-cent menu at Taco Bell? Because I do, and Lord have mercy, I miss that. Like, everyone can take back their 80s mom jeans if they just give me back the 80s Taco Bell menu. Okay, so anybody who's watching, I've flipped this now to where I'm working front ways for myself, which means you're actually looking at it upside down. So if you are wanting to actually learn this pattern, go to the beginning of the video, and I was doing it the right way for the camera, but I can't, my brain can't do that for a whole project. I'm sorry. Yes, I definitely remember 59.79, 99 cents at Taco Bell. Okay. So I am like, again, with chaos, and I'm gonna try not to spoiler anybody because I know nobody wants to be spoiled. But like, I just again seeing the colossal screwed upness of Greekness like played out on a screen is just like, wow, that's so wrong. That's, oh God, that's so, oh, that's like, it's a whole bunch of, oh my God, that's so wrong. Um, and anybody who studied Greek mythology can, is, I'm sure, with me on this one. It just, once again, seeing it on a screen is different than reading it in a book. Oh goodness. Okay, I can I officially volunteer to take Stanley's place in the house and be served boiled, fresh fish for dinner and pampered? Because I'll take that. Yes, Chaos and Umbrella Academy both are on Netflix. And I did actually go back to the beginning of Umbrella Academy just because it is a very convoluted show. So I went back to the beginning and watched all the way through until now the end. Fish. Fish in the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to move this a little bit more because, again, if I'm going to use a weight, which I am, I need to make sure that the weight is suspended. Otherwise, it's not doing its job of weighting because it only works if it's suspended. Ooh. Umbrella Academy. Okay. Like, was Chaos a graphic novel? I would not. I didn't think so, but I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence about it because, like, there's just some truly messed up shit. Oh, the Greeks. The ancient Greeks. Oh, Chester's such a good name for a kitty. And Beryl has watched through a great deal of Umbrella Academy and Chaos with me. She's still not quite sure where she stands on Chaos either. What, our printer that doesn't print anything at the moment? Okay, so I'm stopping at a bird foot, notice, to see where I'm at. And I am, in fact, making a bracelet that's fairly large, but that's okay. And so I need to go a little bit further, but what I want is I want this here to be equal to, wow, Allison, cameras are a thing. So I want the part on this side of the bead to be equal to this part. Or a bracelet for a larger person. So let's see. What has happened since the last time I saw you all? Let's see. I cleaned up my garage with the help of some amazing clients. I'm going to be paying for that for the rest of the week because my sinuses are trying to murder me. Heather is doing flags. Delaney, our new hire, is doing awesome, and we are back to our regular streaming schedule as of today. So that means that we will be doing a sale tomorrow, and there will be a Heather on stream tomorrow. She's coming in for the sale. So anybody who didn't just have their windows replaced and have to fix major structure damage, no, that's not the way that works. Major structural damage to their house, get ready to buy. I've got some cool stuff for y'all. I mean, right? Seriously, my mom definitely cost me sanity points every damn day. And Keiko, we can talk after stream. Like, is it just overwhelming? Because if it's just a matter of typing in info, I can do that for you. Like, we can get on the phone and I can just be like, hey, what needs to go here? And you can tell me, and I'm fine with that. Data entry is also, and I was saying this to the amazing people who helped me clean out my garage so that I can get the furniture because again, my life is, and I'm sure that I'm not the only person on this stream who has this problem. My life is a sliding puzzle. Like, okay, so I needed to clean out the office, but in order to clean out the office, I need to clean out the garage, and then I need to take the shelves, and I need to build the shelves in the garage, so then I can take the things from the office, from my storage area, I can put them in the garage, and then I can take the other things, and I can, put them to the curb, and then I can take the other things, and I can put them in that. Like, it's always a sliding puzzle, always. So, shout out to Valerie and Xavier, who are not on the stream, but they helped me clean out my garage, and they were amazing and insanely non-judgmental, if that's even a thing, but they were fantastic. And so sometimes you just need, and where I was going with all this is it's always easier to clean somebody else's mess than your own. So don't be afraid to ask for help, friends. Okay, so I've got equivalent, I think, Kumihimo on both sides. Okay, so I've got basically a whole bracelet here. And this is where we see that, yes, Allison did in fact cut way more cord than she needed. But Allison also did not grab one thing that she needed to finish this, so BRB. Also, my calves are ridiculously sore from cleaning out the garage. Like, I used to be young and spry, and now, not so much. Okay, so what I have now, what I've gotten, is I have some thinner cord. So it doesn't so much matter what this is. You just want something that's thin, and you can use something that you would use a needle with, like Fireline or Nymo. I am too lazy to go get myself a needle, so I just grabbed literally because it was 3 feet away from me, grabbed some black waxed linen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut myself off a length of this as soon as I find the end. Oh dear. I feel like this is some kind of mythological Greek trial. To find... Okay, this should not be this difficult. Hold, please. Well, I swear there was just an end in my hand. Now, the reason that I grabbed black is A, it was sitting right over there, and B, it doesn't really matter what color it is, because it's going to be under your cone, but really? It has to have an end somewhere. There it is. Sneaky bugger. Okay, so now that I found the end, okay, so I'm just going to cut myself a piece of this. It's about a couple feet long. And now I'm going to use that to bind this off. So when you are, okay, so when you're doing this, I don't know why I decided I need to cross-legged. Apparently I do. So when you're doing this, if you're using something like a Chinese knotting cord, you can melt it. But when you're using the satin cord, it doesn't really melt together well at all. All it's going to really do for you is give you a noxious odor and not do anything productive. So this end is already pretty much self-finished. So we're just going to shove some wire through there, put our cap on, we're going to be good to go. But we need to finish off this end. So what we're going to do, since we can't melt this together like we would with a Chinese knotting cord, we're going to take our linen. You could also do this with Fireline, you could do it with Nymo. I like the linen because it grips pretty well. So you're just going to take this and you're going to leave yourself a decent amount of tail. I've got about 4 inches or so of tail, and don't do that. And hold that nice and tight, and you're just going to wrap that really tightly around the end of your satin. So what you want to see here is you want to see your binding cord compressing down the end of your braid, because we're going to be cutting this off, like, I kid you not, like right here. So we want to make sure that this binding cord is actually, I threw it in my lap. Cool. You know, we just want to make sure that this binding cord is holding this. And this is another reason why I do like the waxed linen cord for this, because the wax just gives you a little bit of extra grippiness. So I'm going to take my little dreadlocks there, and so I've gone around about 4 or 5 times, and then I'm just going to take my beginning and my end of my cord, and I'm going to tie them in a knot. And I'm going to make sure I pull that knot really tight. So again, I want to make sure that my cord is compressing my satin. Otherwise, if it's not actually squeezing your satin, it's not going to be sturdy enough to do what I'm about to do, which is going to be put a dab of glue on here. I don't have any glue here, so we're just going to pretend I did that, and then cut everything off. So we're going to cut those pretty short, and then we're going to take these and we're going to cut these right above. So that is how our bound end should look. All right, so now at this point, we're ready to turn this baby into a bracelet. Look at that color, it's so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my wire, and I do have some 20 gauge wire here, and I'm just going to cut myself about a foot of it. And we're going to start with our bound end just for grinsies, and we're going to take this and we're going to stab it right through here. Now, if your wire is not as sturdy as, oh, that was a bad choice. Hold on. Not a bad choice. Bad circumstances. Be right back. Wait. Okay, so if your wire is not sturdy enough to poke through your weaving on its own or you're braiding on its own, you can use a knotting awl and just kind of make yourself a hole and just shove that all the way through there, and then take the wire and go through said hole following your knotting awl. Just bring it up. And you know what else I didn't grab? I did not grab a clasp. So that's going to be another brief departure from the camera while I go grab a clasp. But so I'm going to take it, I'm going to cross it over like so, and then I'm going to make a wire wrap. You don't have to be super neat with this because it is going to be covered by your cone, but you want to make sure that you keep it tight and small so it's covered by your cone. So it can be messy, but it also should be small. So we're just going to wrap that short one around the long one a couple times and trim like so. You don't even have to tuck in the end because your cone or your cap or whatever you've chosen for the end, you're going to thread that on your wire and you're going to drop that right over the top of everything. And this is where you determine if you made a good choice or a bad choice with your cap. And I made a so-so choice. So ideally, I really don't want to see that stuff there. So I'm gonna, whilst I'm going and grabbing a clasp, I'm gonna see if maybe I have one of these that's just a little bit deeper that's gonna do a better job of holding that. So again, I will leave you all with the color wheel, and I will be right back. Okay, so, wait, me? Definitely a bad witch. Okay, so we're gonna try these instead, because this one is too shallow and it's actually a little too wide. So this one is deeper, so we're gonna go with that complex witch. Okay, so now we're just gonna go ahead and string that on. So the cool thing about fiber is it's compressible. So like it does not look like that's gonna fit in there, but I bet you I can make it fit in there. And no, that's what she said jokes, please, from the stream. I do like complex witch as an option though. I think that's a good one. All right. I'm having a complex relationship with this cone right now, so I'm gonna just, you know, hang out. So this is the thing. This is the thing about all the projects on Pinterest. I'm just gonna put my face on whilst I struggle with this. So this is the thing about a lot of the projects that you see on Pinterest, for instance, because I spend this, you know, stupid amount of time on Pinterest, but like there are a lot of Goldilocks parts out there, and that is something that can be very frustrating because there are a lot of projects out there that require the one perfect part in order to complete the project, and sometimes it might not even exist anymore, because I am sorry, and I have heard it time and time again from a lot of people, you know, about how supply chain issues is just an excuse. It's not, because first of all, these cones are too small. But I don't think lube is going to work in this case. I need to find the stupid Goldilocks cone. So I'm going to just go get my box of cones in a minute and start trying them. But like I have heard a lot of people who are a bit entitled possibly say that supply chain issues is just an excuse. It's really not. Like, the struggle is real. Like, people have gone out of business, people have died. Like, we can't get all the things we used to be able to get. So, you know, cut your local businesses a little slack, I think is what I'm saying. And I'm gonna go get another comb. But anyway, so this brings me, yeah, so this brings me, though, back to the Goldilocks incident, or Goldilocks scenario of, like, you've got this project on Pinterest or wherever, and it requires this one particular item to complete, and unfortunately, the only factory that ever made that item is now closed, and now you're screwed. But I did finally find the Goldilocks of caps. Okay, so this is what I would call my ideal cap for this project. And you always want to try and fit your cap on the second end of the project, the one with the binding, because that's the one that's more difficult. So that's what I would call a perfect fit. So again, just refrain from the "that's what she said" jokes, please. Yeah, just don't talk to Christine Heidel about it, because. Okay, so yay! Look, I found the right cap. Now I need to attach it to a clasp, which I also do have because I got that when I got the cap. So this is going to be, hey, welcome to your old friend, the basic wire wrapped loop. I'm going to take our round nose pliers and we're going to place them so they're touching the top of that cap. And then we're just going to make a basic wire wrap loop. We're going to go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, and underneath to make our old friend, the lady with the scarf. Meow. And then we're going to take our clasp, we're going to go here, all the way up into the loop like so, and then, yeah, Jay definitely wins this one. Not that it was a contest. And then we're just going to wrap that around, and we're going, reminding you, from the loop down towards the cap. That is true, unlike other customers of ours, who we shall not talk about on stream, lest we should summon them. All right, so there's that, and oh, but just every time, not going there. There we go. So, okay, so that's your ideal end. So, if I want to break down your ideal end, you've got a cap that is not bigger than your braid. You've got a cap that covers all of the less attractive ending bits of your braid, and you've got a cap ideally that matches the color of your wire and your clasp. So now we're going to do the other side. And Heather, this is where you can see where I totally screwed up and then switched directions. So, you know, Heather's the only one who's going to notice that, except for the fact that I just pointed it out to the entire internet. So this is a little bit of a timing timing problem. So what I want is I want to take my wire and I want to put it through there, but I want to do it before that hole kind of closes up. So we'll see if I can get that to work. And Haha, I did. If I couldn't make that happen, then I would use my all. Now, you will notice, since I did point it out to Heather and the entire internet, there is a really wonky part right here. Okay, there's really nothing I can do about that right now at this point, except if I wanted to bind this off with the linen like I did the other side and cut off the part that's wonky. I'm going to just choose to embrace the wonky, but if that was an issue, that is the only way you could fix it, really, because this is the beginning of your weaves. You can't go back to the beginning. I feel like that's kind of a life statement. But anyway, so I've got my wire through there. I'm going to just wrap the short one around the long one. And then we're going to grab that other cap. We're going to shove that down on there. We're going to put the other side of that clasp on, and we're going to call it done, baby. Was it the, what, wait. Was it a crying customer or was it a crying me? Heather, can you remind me? Okay, so now we're going to take this, and then, I mean, if it was a whining customer, I could, but I don't remember. I think my brain erased the memory, so I'm going to hope that Heather, as my auxiliary and superior brain, will remember that. Okay, so this side's easier because you don't have to deal with the floof, and so it's going to slip on a lot easier. And then we're just going to do another we're just going to do another basic wire wrap loop. So away, rotate, back, rotate, underneath, ta-da, and then grab your other clasp end, which in this case is the bar, go through, you know, that crying customer might have actually been me, because I definitely had all right, so now we're gonna wrap this. I had like 2 breakdowns in 1 week, to which Heather was witness. So it might not have actually been a customer, it might have been me. Heather can confirm or deny as she wishes, but I'm kind of thinking it was me. Okay, so we're going to trim and push our end down. And there we go. And now we has bracelet. No, who was it then? It wasn't me. Okay. There was somebody crying in the store and it wasn't me. That's exciting. But who was it? We did just... Oh my god, my brain has overwritten so much information since then. Huh. Things in the bead shop can get so weird. Okay. Well, you know, yeah, it's been a wild ride. So things I can say about this. First of all, so this is where I switched. Thanks, Lori. But this is where, okay, and so things that, oh, that weird one. Okay, I do remember that one actually. The bead store business is weird. Okay, so this is where I switched from doing it camera style to doing it front style. This is where I could have taken this bead and actually shoved it down a little bit further, because see how there's this little weirdness here? And then this is the end of my braid, also my brain, but my braid, which is beautiful and perfect. So the moral of the story here is that, first of all, don't forget your clasp and findings are going to make it longer. Second of all, pay attention when you're putting your bead on, because see that wobble, I don't love that. And then you can always finish strong. So there we go. So anyway, so that's our project for today. So it's big. It's for a larger person than myself, because I can put it on without using the clasp, but the clasp does work. So that is the other thing. You need to make sure, especially if you're using a toggle, that you have enough leeway for that toggle to actually fasten, which it does. So go me. So that's it. That's our Satin Kumihimo bracelet. Thank you all so much for rejoining us. Again, I'm sorry we kind of disappeared for 2 weeks. It's been a lot. I'm sure that it will broke my color wheel. I'm sure that it will come out all will be revealed in the coming days. No, but we're going to be talking a lot, I'm sure, about what happened, because what happened was a lot of shit had happened. So here we go. That's our bracelet. It's cool. I like it. It's Kumihimo with a bead. Yes. So, yay! Successful first stream back. So that is going to be it for me tonight. And so Heather and I will both be back on stream tomorrow night, right here at twitch.tv/Beading Dream with a live merchandise sale. I've got cool stuff for you. So once again, if everyone who hasn't just had new windows put in, get your pocketbooks ready, because we've got some cool stuff for you. Jewelry successfully made, and I will catch you all tomorrow with Heather. Again, twitch.tv/Beading Dream. Don't forget, you can always watch the replays of our streams on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. They archive them for forever. It means my bad hair days are on the internet for pretty much the rest of time. But if you're missing us at any point, you can always go watch the archive tutorials. So, everyone have a great night. And I will see you all tomorrow night with Heather at twitch.tv/Beading Dream at 6:30 p.m. for a live merchandise sale. We are not doing a podcast tomorrow night. We're off until the 11th for podcasting. So it's going to be a sale only tomorrow night, because the podcast would have been tonight, because tonight's Wednesday. Okay, now that I officially don't know what day it is, I'm out. Everyone have a good one. Bye!